Every wanderer begins with a dream. 4 years ago, I left this place I'm currently in. I left in search of meaning, search of hope. There was a sense of restlessness inside of me, the youthful kind of restlessness of wanting to leave home, go somewhere new, and discover the world and yourself in the process. I had a dream of wandering the romantic sights of Europe, wandering through cobblestone streets and visiting castles and hiking mountains and meeting like-minded people. In a sense, I was really chasing a vision, more of a vision than an actual place. So I decided 2021 to go to Germany. I found a way to get there. I was generally inspired by Europe. It's old cities, castles, diverse cultures and languages. And a part of me identified with the European way of life and way of being. I saw myself living there for a long time, at least a couple of years. And I embarked on a journey to Passau, Germany. Passau, Germany is where the language course was located, and I had not heard of this place at all. I found via research online as I was looking for language courses. And I looked at the pictures and I thought, wow, what a picturesque, beautiful town with a river and this old city. So I packed my bags, took my guitar and bass with me, the essentials, and I left to Germany in my youthful excitement, full of illusions, full of romanticized visions of what life could be like in the old world. I am from the new world, the newest of the worlds, South America, and I, like many others, envisioned a place closer to perfection in the old world. I thought to myself, on paper, Europe seems much better, a more humane system, a society that values work-life balance and provides the basic needs to most people, even foreigners get to enjoy healthcare and lower cost of living and a pathway to financial security, and even education is free even for foreigners. I did inform myself and knew quite a good amount about the place I was going to, and that's why Germany seemed appealing, perhaps more so than other countries within Europe, because of all these things that I just mentioned. So I thought to myself, that's a no-brainer, why wouldn't I want to move there? But it's not as simple as just looking at a list of pros and saying, wow, that seems much better, I'm gonna go there and life is gonna be perfect and easier. Another thing that I liked, that appealed to me about going there, was the metal culture. As a musician, composer of metal music, Europe seemed to be a good place for this, as there are a lot of fans, a lot of festivals, and a good infrastructure for bands and fans. All right, this tripod is broken. Part 2. The honeymoon phase. So I arrived in Passau at the end of September of 2021. So I arrived in Munich, took a train to Passau. I arrived on a sunny day, very pleasant day, not too hot, not too cold. The first couple of months were great. I hold dear memories of that time, warm memories of that time. I had a big hunger in me to go somewhere by myself and start in fresh, a place where no one knew me and I didn't know anyone. And within the first week I met a lot of cool people. I made friends from all over the world, from Brazil, Italy, Finland, US, Germany, of course. With my savings I was able to buy myself time. My priority at that time was basically social life. After the pandemic in 2021, I was fairly isolated and I hadn't seen people my age, I hadn't been around people my age I got myself involved with a local German girl from Passau, and the fun continued. With this girl, I kind of started hanging out with a new group of friends, which was music-related group, where we were playing together, and this girlfriend of mine, she was singing with us, and it was just a for fun kind of thing. We were called the International Band, and we were playing cover songs, totally not the kind of music that I like, and not at the level that would challenge me, but it was fun to just be with these people and share, even if for a brief moment in my life, share these moments together. I was intoxicated with freedom and novelty. But like all good things, at some point it comes to an end. And by the end of that first semester, I had a relapse, a flare-up of a chronic condition that I have. Something I battled with through 2020 and 2021, and when I arrived in Germany, my health did get better. I noticed the food, the beer. I could consume more things there that I was avoiding here in the United States. And those first few months of euphoria eventually climaxed at the end of 2021, Christmas and New Year's, where I was in Italy visiting a family member of mine. And by the time I got in Passau in January, things kind of started going downhill, where I had a flare-up. Luckily, I had this girlfriend at the time who supported me and her mom during those moments, and I am very grateful. The high of the honeymoon phase faded away. I started to think about, okay, what's next? You know, once the language course ends, I'm going to lose my visa, and I need to find a way to make money, because my savings won't last forever. I put it in my head that I was gonna start working in IT, so I was looking at boot camps and looking at places that I could work at. I became more aware of the Ausbildung program in Germany, which is vocational training, or the dual vocational training system they have there, where you work like 70% of the time you work at a company and learn the trade through practice in the company, and at the same time you learn the theory at the Berufsschule, which is the vocational school, and you get a remuneration. You do get a stipend, but a very small stipend for 3 years. 3 years you get like the first year 800-900 euros, and by the last year you earn like 1,100, which in Passau was like literally enough to pay your basic needs and leave you with like a little bit for some fun, some going out to eat or maybe travel, but it was definitely tight. I was looking for stability. I was looking for security. By the end of that first year in Passau, I got tired of living in this maybe I'll find pictures of it, of living in this dorm room, which was kind of a depressing place to live in. Plainly functional. There was no aesthetic beauty to it at all. It was literally just to sleep and study. With a very tiny bathroom, tiny kitchen. But it was enough for me. So summer of 2022 came around, and I moved to a new apartment with a mate of mine, someone I befriended during that first year, a guy from Lebanon. I moved in with him and an Italian girl who had just moved to Passau to study her master's or something. And the place was a mess. I mean, I spent many hours, like probably 2 afternoons, cleaning up just the kitchen, because whoever lived there before us left a disgusting mess behind them. There was maggots behind the counters in the kitchen, and a bunch of grease and tar and black stuff under the stove, and it looked like these corners hadn't been cleaned for years. But it was still exciting, because now it was my first time living with roommates. So things were falling into place. Now I had an apartment, and now I would be getting a visa and some income, even though it was very little income. My relationship with the local girl came to an end. So after we broke up, I had a few weeks of emotional turmoil and heartache, even though we dated for only like 6 months or something. So slowly I start to feel more at home there, and the Ausbildung begins. Structure replaces chaos, and the thrill of that first year slowly faded into the mundane of routine and study and work. And it was intense. It was intense to join, to start working in this company as perhaps one of the few foreigners there. I was completely out of place, fish out of water, so to say. And my cohort was oh man, it's just so funny thinking about it. Like, I was doing something so strange, so unusual. All the locals there were always kind of shocked. You're coming from New York, and you came all the way over here to this small town in Niederbayern, which is eastern Bavaria, border with Austria. You learned German, and now you're doing this vocational training in German. It was just very unusual, and most people do not quite understand, especially as someone already in their mid-20s with a college degree. And I also didn't quite understand what I was getting myself into. I mean, on paper everything seemed good, because I thought, okay, I'm gonna be getting paid to learn, and it will give me time to adapt and improve my language skills. So there was logic to my decisions, and this Ausbildung was a big commitment, 3 years of your life. So my cohort were a bunch of local boys from the area, and this is a small town, so most of these kids, when I say kids, I mean they were all, some of them were 17, some were 20, 21, 22, and there were like 2 or 3 other guys who were around my age, 27, 28, and I was the only foreigner who spoke like just enough German to have basic conversations. So it was very shocking to the people in the company and at the Berufsschule, where they're like, wow, this guy has been here for like a year and just started learning German, and he's wants to study IT here. I mean, looking back now, I'm thinking, man, like, I should have considered my I should have thought more about what I was getting myself into. I was just so ecstatic of the whole novelty and possibility that I was blinded to the long-term implications of the decisions that I was making. And because I was getting so involved in the life in Passau with the friends and the girlfriend, and I think I became blind to other possibilities of perhaps going somewhere else in Europe, another country, another city, looking at other places I could study, other places perhaps that I could work at. But at the time it felt right. It felt like I got myself into a good spot. I found a good company.